So starting January 1st, 2025, Generation Beta is being born. I have come to you from a far off land in the deep, deep south to tell you that Generation Beta does not exist. It is a myth. It is a creation by the media, by the military industrial complex, whatever it is. I don't know why they push these like 14, 15-year generations. Are mothers having children when they're 14? I guess that happens. But that's not a generation. It's a generation is what the average is. It's like the average of when a woman has her first child. You know what time that is now? You know when that is? It's about 29 years old. That's when the average mother has her first child. It was shorter in the past. You go back 100 years ago, it was like 20 years old or a little less. So there is this weird naming convention that we have that does not make any sense, because we're not talking about trends and styles and technology changes. That's a whole other concept. But this is why I put the little family tree here. A generation is parent to child, right? So if it's about 29 years, that means what generation are we in? What generation are you? What am I? Some people will try to defend this by coming up with kind of a zigzag pattern where, like, well, boomers didn't give birth to Gen X, boomers gave birth to millennials, and millennials will give birth to not Gen Z, but Gen Alpha, and it's ridiculous. I would like to I want to put this out there into the world. We all can all agree that 1945 is the beginning of the baby boom. That's the baby boom generation. They're called the boomers. This is when I think all this stuff started being named. So World War II to Vietnam, less than 30 years, 25 years, about the time of a generation, about the same, yeah, it works. So Vietnam to 9/11, that's a generation too. So I would say World War II, Vietnam, that's the boomers. Vietnam to, say, 9/11, War on Terror, that's millennial. Gen X doesn't exist. Gen X is a myth. It's whatever. It's a fantasy created by the puppet masters. But so the 9/11 to like the War on Terror period will go, I should say the 9/11 generation will go until about 2031. That's when you get Gen Z. Gen Z starts in 2031. Yes, math, do your own math. I'm very distracted on my work. It's hard to do the math. Continue the video. Then you have Gen Alpha, and then another 30 years later, depending on when a woman has her first kid, maybe it's like 40 years by then, and we're talking about the end of the century when Gen Beta actually starts. So this is just something that annoys me, one more thing. And I hear people talk about it as if, like, oh, if I just look it up, I'll know. And it's like, there is no answer. There is no answer. It is a complete creation of the Canadian government or whatever it is. There is no agreed upon date time frame, but I think my thing works because it actually reflects the freaking family tree of a generation of 29 years or whatever. So boomers are giving birth to millennials, millennials are giving birth to the next. So anyways, I gotta go. I'm gonna go off into the sunset and go back to work. Goodbye. So I just want to throw in here, it's interesting, I would call the 2001 period post, all the way to the present, going to the 2030s, is the crisis generation. That's the crisis generation. You'll notice that there's certain things that typify each generation, and we have been in a period of crisis since 9/11 with COVID, financial crisis. It's only going to continue most likely, and it should end in 2030. Now, this is based on the Strauss and Howe generational theory. Read that book. Put the cover here. They made several books, but it's really good. Just want to throw that out.